I wanted to bring to your attention something I just watched. It has to do with the news and the fact that it doesn't really do what news is supposed to do, or what we think of as why we watch the news. So before I just realized now a line from a Paul Simon is that the news is just out to catch your dime, I think it is. It's a line from one of his songs. The news is not to inform. Make sure you understand that. It took me a long time to figure it out. And so when I finally left university and I was going along, blissfully unaware of the realities of the world, finally a great gentleman who became a friend told me, if you really want to understand it, you should read Noam Chomsky's Manufacturing Consent. So I got around to reading that, and then I subsequently read all of Noam's books. Real insight into how the world works and information about the world. So anyways, to this, so I follow all the things about the news, and then the big thing recently going on is the public spat between TYT, the Young Turks, and Jimmy Dore, who used to be on the Young Turks, but then left to found his own station because of what the Young Turks did. So I was listening to someone talk about this spat, and they were interviewing Matt Taibbi, and he recommended, or he plugged, a movie called All Governments Lie. I immediately stopped watching that and then found the movie and went to watch it. This movie was so good, and I can see why I'd never heard of it before. It's a searing indictment of all the news channels and the whole industry per se. So I just watched this, and I just think it's something that everyone should watch. It should be mandatory viewing for high schoolers, and if you didn't learn it in high school, then in university. You shouldn't be consuming any news unless you've watched this. It is that good. It centers on I.F. Stone, who is a reporter, an American reporter, but he was so good, he was obviously banned from all White House reporting, press conferences and such like that. But he said it doesn't matter anyways, nothing important is done there, and I just have more time to focus on the real reporting that I should be doing anyway. So this person speaks to all the good reporters, from Chris Hedges to David Korn, to Matt Taibbi, Noam Chomsky, Jeremy Scahill. These are the people that I listen to, where you get the real news, not the manufactured news that they want you to consume, want you to believe. And it's why I've become so cynical in life. But I'd rather be cynical and a little sad about it because of what I watch, than blissfully unaware of what is really going on. And I think it would be good if everyone was this way. I cannot stand to watch corporate news where they just push all the things they want you to believe. It is funny that we make fun of or look down upon news from Russia, China, and all the other countries that fit that mold, when we pretty much do the same thing. But we just don't think of it that way, but it is that way. Propaganda. I remember growing up, and the big movie that I watched that came out about the time that I started consuming news was All the President's Men, with Dustin Hoffman and Robert Redford portraying John Bob Woodward and Carl Bernstein. And I thought, wow, this is incredible reporting, and how come I didn't know this? And it's because they don't want you to know it, right? So that's what this movie focuses on, and I'm just still emotional from watching it. It's really, really well done. The person who does this in movies is Oliver Stone. I can see now why so many people criticize him. It's because he tells the real truth, and people can't handle the truth, as Jack Nicholson said in A Few Good Men. So I'll leave it there. I just think this is something everyone should be watching, and you got to keep up on the news. I used to watch Young Turks. They were, I believe, at the time I heard about them, the #1 news show online. But what happened, it's so funny to see them in the clips, in the movie, in a few clips, because what happened to them was the exact thing they were in the movie for. A big donor came along and gave them lots of money, and their opinions changed. Cenk Uygur was in there because I used to watch him on MSNBC, and the corporate media came to him and said, look, we want you to tone it down. Don't be telling the truth. Same thing happened to... what's that reporter who was on MSNBC? Phil Donahue. Ed, I think his name was Ed Schwartz. Keith Olbermann. All the people who tell the truth get yanked off the air. It's funny. I remember watching these guys, and then one day they're no longer on the air. And it's because of the internet. You guys are lucky that you have the internet and you can find out what happened. In my day, reporters didn't tell the truth, and if you did tell the truth, you were gone in the same way. So you guys are lucky that you have the internet. You can go find out what happened, the realities, stuff like that. So the same thing happened with the TYT. Now they had some money donor come along and tell them to tone it down. All of a sudden you see their opinions changed, their tone changed. I believe their viewership has gone down quite a bit, but they're not saying it, so I can't verify it, but I've heard that it's gone down. I no longer watch them, but I do watch Jimmy Dore. He seems to be very good, and I can see why a lot of people like the Majority Report have gone after Jimmy Dore. They don't like that he's telling the truth about TYT. So it's all about money, as they say. And you just got to know who you should be listening to and consuming your news from. One really good reporter who I like is Chris Hedges. Another one I left out is John Pilger. He is my favorite reporter. He has his own website. I'll put links to some of these things on in the notes, and you can find them yourself. And I'll leave it there. Okay? Bye-bye.